Hello, everyone. I want to welcome everyone that is in the chat and is joining us tonight. And of course, welcome everyone that joins us later on in the replay. Let's see. Hello, Lori and Gina and Gail and Debbie. Hello, Julia. Let's see. And Amy has asked, what is the easiest way to find and join the lives? I put up the little reminder on YouTube, and so it will pop up and give you kind of a little countdown there, and it will say that it is scheduled for later on. And so the best way to see what's going on is to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then I always post reminders on Instagram and Facebook as well, so you can always see kind of what's going on there. Hello, Sandy and Erica and Irene. Hello, Diana and Susan. Okay, everyone, we are getting the very first sneak peek at the Happy Hearts release this evening. And let's see, hello, Susan in New Jersey. You're welcome, Amy. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. And you can always email me at Kelley, Kelley, at honeybeestamps.com if you have trouble finding it. But normally we go live on Tuesdays and Thursdays unless there's a release. For example, this Happy Hearts release will go live on, we'll have a release party on Monday the 16th. So it's only on release days that we're on odd nights, but normally on everyday schedule, we're Tuesdays and Thursdays. Hello, Angie in Charlotte. Angie's my neighbor. Caitlin, hello. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, our Happy Hearts release goes live on January the 16th. And what we do is we come here live and we have what we call a release party. And I will show the whole release, and we kind of stop in intervals and take a break and do some giveaways. So I hope that you'll join us for that. That will be Monday the 16th at 8 p.m., same time. And then while we're doing our live, Melissa, who's the owner of Honeybee Stamps, is double checking everything on the website and making sure everything is ready to go. That way, as soon as we're done with our release party, then it is live there at Honeybee Stamps, and everybody is ready to shop. So let's see here. There is Lisa. Hello. And Sherry and Susie. Hello. And Linda in Missouri. Okay, you guys. So without further ado, or maybe before we even get into our card making tonight, what are you guys most hoping, maybe I should say, that you'll see in the Happy Hearts release? I know we have a lot of people that love our sentiment sets and some of our dies. And hello, Mary Lee. So what are you guys hoping to see? Gail is looking forward to the sneak peek. Let's see, Caitlin says cute animals. You will see some cute animals in this release, Caitlin, so you won't be disappointed. Let's see, Krista said the new layers dies are layered dies. Yes, I see a couple of those. Layers, sentiment sets, cover plates. You guys are not going to be disappointed. You all are like laying out the release here. I love it. Valentine sentiments. You'll see a few, I wouldn't say like strictly Valentine's, but some that you could use for Valentine's, but you could use all year long. So how about that? Let's see here. Stamp and stencil combos. You're going to see some of that. Stencils. You're going to see stencils. And Krista is addicted to the layering dies. Okay. So since all of you are super excited about this release, let's go down here to my desk view, and I am going to give you a little sneaky peeky here. And you guys that all said dies and layering are going to be super excited. So first off, let's get into maybe this beauty. Okay, so we have a new Lovely Layers set, and this is the Lovely Layers Pansy. And so this is what I'm going to be creating, not this one, but we're going to kind of be recreating and layering this set. I'm going to show you how I start with white paper and get and blend on color. And so I'm going to create a card with the Lovely Layers Pansy this evening. This is one that I built for our little videos that we put out during release week. But we're going to make a card with the pansy this evening. And then we also have some really great layering pieces that are good for backgrounds and things. And this, and I'm not even, all the names, Lisa's going to put it in the chat over there. But this is a layering die set that's going to make it super easy for you to create all types of layers. Now, if you'll notice here, if I hold this up, do you see all the detail around the edges? And see, this is the largest layer. This is almost 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you can see I love like all this kind of texture, and it's loose and it's kind of whimsical. You can glue that down, but I kind of like mine to kind of be loose here. And then this is another layer, same die set, another layer in the frame here. And so you can see, let me hold this one up by itself. You can see all the great details in that. And then these 2 layers is just what I'm using for this card. That is not all the layers in that set. So when you're talking about layering paper and things like that, now let's get into some color schemes. So this is one of our new gingham papers in the Happy Hearts gingham. And this is going to give you a little sneaky peeky at some colors that you're going to be seeing coming out in our paper pads for this release. Let me see if I can get it here without the glare. I'll pull this up so you can tell right off the bat that we're moving into, let's see here if I can get it. There we go. We're getting into more springy colors, moving into spring and summertime and Valentine's Day and love and friendship and all the things. So this is the pearls, and we also have a gem sticker set. So let's see, pansies are one of my favorite flowers. Let's see, the pansy. Yes, this pansy is going to be in the new release along with the dies. And let's see, I don't see Lisa here. She's probably looking that up. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to put this kind of aside here, and that's going to be kind of our frame of reference here for what we're going to be building. But I'm going to show you, there was a really great comment in our challenge group over on Facebook. And if you guys don't know, or you're not a member yet, we have a challenge group on Facebook, and it is called Honeybee Stamps Buzzworthy Challenges. And there was a member that asked about our Lovely Layers dies and our winter birds and things like that. And she said, now, do you start out with colored cardstock, or do you blend on the color? And I thought, well, that's a really great question. For a lot of new crafters, you know, you may not know that or know where to start with some of our layering dies. And so I thought it would be fun to take just white cards, and you can do either way. You can start out with colored paper, or you can, you know, blend on your color like we're going to do this evening. So as we're chatting here, I'm going to get blending away, and I'm going to recreate this exact pansy right here. So I'm going to do the purples into the yellows, and I'm going to start with Dusty Concord. So, but I thought that that was a really smart question to ask, or a good question. Okay, so like with all of our Lovely Layers dies, you're going to most of the time start out with the largest section, or the largest piece. That's going to be your bottommost piece, or your base layer. And again, with all of our Lovely Layers dies, you have all of this, and I'm going to try to catch it in the light. Do you see the embossed detail there? That's what's going to show when everything is layered. So when you know when you're adhering these together, that if you've got some of these other pieces over here that doesn't have the pretty embossing on it, that's probably not going to show. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. And so I'm going to start, and I'm going to start really deep and heavy on that bottom layer, and especially right up next to the edge, and then kind of blend it out like that and to where it gets lighter. And then what I always like to do is take my next layer and kind of find our little ridges here and little things around the petals. And I like to hold it up to make sure, do I like the way that that is looking? Is everything colored? Is everything inked the way that I want it to look? And if so, then I go ahead and set that one aside and I move on to the next one. And then again, I'm going to look for all those pretty embossing lines there, just like so. And I know I want to focus most of my attention on coloring right around where those embossing lines are going to be. So again, I'm going to start off onto my stencil mat so I get the most deep shade of that dusty concord right there. And then I'm going to get lighter as I pull it in towards the center of that petal. And I can kind of, deepen up that edge. And then again, all I have to do is take a second, hold that up. Yep, I'm kind of liking the way that that is looking there. And so I can move on to the next one. And I'll hold it up and you can see all those pretty embossing lines there. And so I know as it gets up to the topmost layers, that's where you're going to have more and more detail. So I'm going to start off the edge and pull it in, and off the edge and pull it in. And then I'm going to leave this because I know that I want to pull in my yellow layer. And so I've got a little blending brush here and fossilized amber. So let's kind of start working here. I'm going to tap that off and I'm going to start kind of light-handed, and I'm going to go right in and blend it into that purple. Just like so. And blend that out. And then again, I kind of want to hold everything up to see how we're looking here. Match up the edges and see, I know that this, I want to pull some yellow into this. So I'm going to start right here and kind of work that up into the yellow or the purple. Just like so. And then you can see how those layers and those colors are blending together and what we're going to get here. Okay, so let's go with our dusty concord again. And I'm going to start on the edge and kind of blend in like that. And then take the fossilized amber. I can start off the edge this time. Kind of work my way into that purple. There we go. And then let's see how we're doing here. If I can pick up this piece. And I can kind of layer that one up. And then I don't want to cover up my pretty embossing lines. So I'm going to move it around. And I can already show you a boo-boo. And this is why I layer it all together before I glue it. Okay. So I colored this in, and do you see the boo-boo right here? Do you see why I kind of hold everything up to check it? Do you see where I've got like a little bit of white right there? So I know I want to take my purple again and kind of blend that down. Blend that out. There we go. And that's going to be better this time. There we go. Okay, now do you see how that's going to go together this time? So it just gives me a little bit of a visual before you add glue to it. That way you can make sure that you're kind of liking the way that everything is looking. I'm going to get that little edge right there. Okay, so I'm going to set that little guy aside. And now I'm going to work on the little, what do you call these? The little baby buds. The buds, that's what those are. Okay, so we've got 2 base layers here and the top layers. And so I'm going to start out again with our purple. Kind of working my way down. Just like that. And let's go ahead and do this one. This is the top layers. Working my way down. Just like so. And then this is the base layer. And I'm going to do kind of purple on one side. And then I'm going to blend on the yellow. And kind of get that mixed in there. And then I'm going to hold this up just like I did the big one and kind of look at it to make sure that I like the way that everything is looking. Do you see how that yellow just kind of peeks out back in there? And then our little stem, let's go ahead and check the whole thing to make sure we don't have any boo-boos, no white spaces. And this is going to be green, of course. That's going to be kind of pretty. That may be getting a little bit too light right there. So let's just do a little tiny brush right there. Okay, so I like the way that that turned out. So let's go ahead and work on this side and a little bit of the fossilized amber right in there. And then we're good to go. Okay, let's do our stems. And before that, I even want to do our little center pieces. So we have the little centers, and I just have a dirty orange because I want to pull out a little more orange in that blending brush. And I'm just going to cover that with the ink that was already on my brush. And then the center of that, I'm going to do in the same yellow. So fossilized amber. I can pick it up. There we go. And now I can kind of move all my little pieces aside because I'm finished with now the purple and the yellow. So I can kind of clean up my mat before we move into the green. You can see this goes pretty fast, especially if you're not chit-chatting. So, okay, so let's start on the stems. And then I've got a bunch of leaves cut, but I think I'm going to only use a couple. Let's see, when blending on white cardstock, what weight of cardstock do you recommend? I use Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound for everything. It just makes it easy. So, but you could use, if you have 80 pound or, you know, whatever, just, you can use what you have. The 110 pound, especially if you're ink blending, it may just hold up a little bit better to the abuse of your brushes and the ink and stuff like that. I'm going to do the leaves and the stems in Rustic Wilderness. And I'm just going to show you using one color how you can still kind of shade everything. If you notice, I'm not blending just a whole lot of, you know, different colors, not a dark green and a light green and things like that. I'm going to use the same color to do everything. Okay, I'm going to, especially for the leaves. So when I do the leaves, I'm going to start way down here at where it would connect to the plant on like a stem. I'm going to start down there because that's going to be the darkest, you know, concentration of color. And I start really heavy-handed and I lighten up the grip and I lighten up the pressure on the paper as I work to the top. And that's going to make it lighter because you've you're not pressing as hard, but also because you concentrated most of the ink down towards the base. And so that's where it's going to give you, a really dark base down here towards the stem. And then it's going to get lighter and lighter as you move to the top. So that's just an easy way to get that, difference in color just with one color of ink, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to put down my next leaf. And again, I'm going to start really heavy-handed down here towards the base and then lighten up my grip and the pressure as I move towards the top of the leaf. And so it's going to lighten up. And then we have leaf number 2. And then get the fuzz off of my thing here. And then we've got number 3. And I'm going to go really deep and then lighten it up. There we go. And then here we go. One more. Okay, so I was talking about the challenge group earlier. So as I'm kind of coloring this and putting this together, right now, we do, when we're not preparing for a release or anything, we like to do free classes. So I am preparing right now a class for you guys, or for the members, for the month of February. And I'm going to put out all the information on that here in the next week or so, week and a half. I'm getting everything prepared to do that. And so if you haven't joined our challenge group, it's just, a place to have fun and craft and kind of chat with one another and things like that. I urge you to go over and join us on Facebook, so you can come join me for a class. But it's kind of like this. It's just hanging out and us crafting together, and you can kind of ask questions or, do whatever. But it's just kind of fun to hang out and have a crafty time. Okay, so now that I have everything colored, and you can see that went pretty fast, I'm going to start adhering everything with my adhesive. Now, when I do our lovely layers or use the lovely layers, I always use a liquid adhesive because it's going to give you time to wiggle everything around. And I'm just going to kind of puzzle piece all this together. And I want to have time before the glue sets up and dries to make sure that everything is nestled into place. And I always like to add my adhesive kind of towards the center, but off of the embossing. I don't want to put it on any of the embossed lines because I know that that is going to be covered up. And I don't want my glue to come out. But also, if you kind of hide it and just put your glue in the center in a spot and you don't, adhere the whole thing, you can kind of go back in if you want to sometimes and kind of give your flowers a little dimension. I don't really need to do that on this one, but you can always do that. And it's just a fun little added element. Okay, so again, I'm going to add just a little bit of adhesive there. We're going to follow the little puzzle piece here and line it all up. And I'm going to just pinch that for a second. There we go. I can see a little boo-boo right there. Little purple. Okay, now I can put the centers down. So I'm going to add just a little dot of adhesive right there. And I'm going to use my tweezers. And again, it's just everything lines up. So you just want to kind of line it up. And then I'll take the center. And this piece is so little, I'm just going to dot a little bit of the adhesive on the back of here instead of putting it on there and then running the risk of it kind of squirting out or making a mess or something. Okay, so we have this one all together, just like that. Now the difference between this pansy and this one, you can tell where I've added a little bit of colored pencil in the embossing lines right there. But honestly, you don't really need to do that. See how well those embossing lines color, and it makes it look, they look like a real pansy, like a pressed pansy. So I'm not going to do that this evening. Okay, so but that's just a simple way if you want to do that, to add, you know, a little bit of something to your die cuts. Okay, so for the little bud, I'm just going to put this little guy together. And all of our lovely layers, and anything really that layers now, at Honeybee, we have layering guides for. And so if this looks intimidating or you think, oh my gosh, I'll never remember how to put that together, if you order any of our layering sets, there's a guide that comes with it that's, you know, easy, and it gives you kind of little color combination ideas, or you know, you don't have to use that. It's just easy to have. Keep in your package with your dies and your stamps and things. So you can pull it out. Make sure that's all good to go. And then I'm just going to dot a little bit on the edge for the stem. And then we'll line it up. But now you can see how we've gone from just plain white paper. And you watched me color the whole thing. I didn't prep anything early tonight. I wanted to show you, you know, you could do it pretty fast, to just take white paper and then make a pretty pansy. Okay, so now that we've got our little flower situation all ready to go, let me see if I can pick this leaf up here. I'm going to set this aside because we're going to arrange it on our card. Okay, which blenders do you use, Kelley? These are our Honeybee Stamps blending brushes. And they come in, there's two different packages. Hold on, I've got them right here. There's two different packages. There is this that has the two larger brushes, and then there's a pack that has 3 smaller brushes in it. But you can just choose which ones you think that you'll use the most. If you're going to do a whole bunch of blending, like on little die cuts and things, then just these may be good. If you're going to do like big backgrounds through stencils and stuff, you may want to grab the bigger ones. But okay, so because we have a purple pansy, I'm going to use a kind of purpley, violety colored card base. And I'm actually going to do a horizontal card. And this is where we're going to pull in these beautiful layering dies here. And we're going to kind of zhuzh everything up. Now, I know before I go too far that I need to stamp my sentiment. And this is the part that I always forget. So I'm proud of myself that I didn't forget this evening. So I've got my little white layer here, and I have my sentiment stamp in here, and it reads, "You bring a smile to my face." So somebody earlier in the comments, her name is escaping me. She mentioned that she sends Valentine's cards to all of her sisters and her friends, just to let them know how much she loves and appreciates them. That is pretty much the theme of the Happy Hearts release, is love, friendship, not necessarily Valentine's, but just appreciation and love. And so a lot of these sentiment sets are going to be great for that. And then, of course, you can use those all year long. So it says, "You bring a smile to my face." And I'm just going to stamp it down here in the bottom right-hand corner. And I'm actually going to use the Dusty Concord. So this is the first time I've inked up this sentiment. So let's see how we do here. And I'm going to tap, 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 tap. Don't need to press too hard. And let's do that again. And tap, tap, tap. And that's looking pretty good. Let's do 3 times for good measure. And there we go. All right, so let's do that. And then I can kind of give that a bath here. And I'm going to pull this out if I can get it picked up off of my sticky mat. I replaced my sticky mat today, finally. And now it's super sticky. There we go. Okay, so let's do some layering here. So I'm going to take my liquid adhesive again. And I'm going to do my little gingham layer here. And remember, I'm not going to glue down the edges. I kind of like them. I'm a little nutty like that. I kind of like all the wispy, fun texture and layers. And I'm just going to line this up all the way around and press down. But I kind of like that all this, and they're supposed to cut all the way through like that, but it's a fun little option. Like if you want to have them be a little dimensional like that. Okay, and then we're going to bring in our next layer. So I'm just going to add a few dots back here and then line this up. And I like that all the layers in this die set, they're a little different. They all go together and coordinate, but they've all got little different little patterns. I may need to put just a little dot of glue right there. I like that all the different patterns on the edges. So you have the crimped edge and you've got the pierced and the little scallops and all the things. Okay, so there we go there. So now we have to kind of design our bouquet here. And I think I'm going to kind of do a little swag of some sort up in here. So I'm going to kind of get the lay of the land. Let's see how we're doing on time here. We're doing really good on time. Okay, let's get the lay of the land here a little bit. And I'm just going to poke them in like that. And then we can kind of have like that. It's kind of looking good. And then maybe one more leaf for an odd number. You know, something like that. That's looking really pretty. Okay, I like that. I like the little bit of purple. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move that aside. And to give this just a little something, I'm going to use one of our little tabbed foam dots on the back. And it's going to give it a little dimension, but another thing is it's going to make it to where it's super easy to pop all those little leaves and little buds and things in there. And so I'm going to place this kind of right down there, just like so. And then let's go ahead and let me pull these out of my little bin here. Let's go ahead and pop this on a little dot. And I'm going to tuck that right in there. And I kind of like how that's going over and you can still see some of that little frame die back there. And let's add a little dot to this one. And kind of right down in there. Okay. And then let's see here. Let's do these. I'm going to add a little liquid adhesive like this. And I'm going to kind of tuck it in and then hold it down here. And I'm going to kind of raise it on the end just a little bit. If you wanted to add a little dot under there, you could do that. And then let's see here. this little guy, I'm going to give a haircut. Maybe about right there. And then I'm going to tuck it right down in there and pinch it and then curl that up maybe a little bit. Okay. Let's do one more. Maybe kind of framing this area down here. A little haircut. And then again, I'm going to pinch it and then kind of lift. Kind of gives it a little bit of movement there. Okay, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to kind of look at it. Okay, I kind of like that. All right, let's finish it off. So I mentioned earlier that we've got a couple of new little gem sets and pearl sets. Now, with the colors that I've chosen here, I don't know if I want to use pearls. Let's see here. Here are the gems. Let me hold them up here on the thing so you can see them. But they're really pretty. Do you see all the pretty colors? This kind of corally kind of, that might be pretty on there. Do we like the gems? I kind of like that. Okay, so let's do some of this kind of iridescent kind of coral little gem here. And I'm going to kind of tuck where they're not hidden, but they're just kind of peeking out just a little bit. And I love that these are the small, medium, and large. Let's even put one maybe right up there on that little layer. And then maybe a little tiny one. That one can kind of peek around right there. And then, let's see here. Little one. Just kind of nestled in there. And let's do one more just to make it an odd number. And I'm just going to kind of, let's tuck it right back in there, just where it kind of glistens a little bit back there. Okay. All right, so let me get here where I can kind of show you the close-up there. Let me hold it still so the camera, but do you see all these beautiful embossing lines? And I didn't add any pencil or anything into those. That's just where the color, kind of blended down in there with the brushes. But you could totally add, if you wanted to add, darker pencil, even in the veins of the leaves or anything, you could totally go back and do that. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is the Lovely Layers Pansy die set. And the stamp set that this little sentiment is from is called Best of Everything. So that kind of gives you a little glimpse at what we're going for there with that sentiment. Let's see if there's any questions. And then, of course, we have the beautiful layering die set to create your beautiful background. And this die set goes from this size all the way down to little size that you'll be able to stamp like a cute little hello or a sweet little sentiment or something on. Okay, let's see here. Somebody said without crushing it. This is a beautiful card. Love the colors. Susan may be asking about mailing it. I would mail this card just like this. I wouldn't worry about it. I would mail it just like that. And just because these leaves are not glued down right there, when they pop out of the envelope, they're still going to pop up a little bit. But those foam dots and the gems won't hurt anything at all when you mail it. I've mailed many a mini card with just in a regular envelope with this dimension. Let's see here. You could use colored wax to add the lines. Oh, I've never thought about that. Thank you, Brenda. Let's see. Can't wait to see the sentiment sets. Yeah, there's several great sentiment sets. Okay, how do you mail it? Yes, I would just put it in a regular envelope and mail it. Anytime I mail anything with dimension, I add please hand cancel to the envelope. And I just found out in last week's live, I believe, that there's actually a like a non-machinable stamp that makes it to where they won't send it through the machines, that squish it. But I've never had any trouble just by putting please hand cancel on mine. Lovely layers are my favorite. Okay, so let me go back here. Let me get my little handy dandy mouse. And hello. Okay, so I'm just reading. I don't want to miss any of your questions. And as I mentioned earlier, but in case anybody missed it, our release is on January the 16th. So that is on Monday. We'll come back here and we'll have a release party where we'll go through the whole release. I'm looking at the whole release across my desk right now. It's really pretty. I'm so excited to be getting into like flowers and florals. And now don't get me wrong, I love for springtime and flowers and all the pretty stuff. So let's see here. Yes. Hey, Keiko. It's so good to see you. Okay. I think that is everything. Yay for a new release. You're welcome, Krista. Oh, you're welcome. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. It is time for our giveaway this evening. Perfect timing for a giveaway because we have our release coming up next Monday. And I'll be back here on Thursday night, same time, same place, for another sneak peek. We'll do something totally different. Somebody mentioned here earlier about cute little animals or critters. So maybe we could have, beautiful florals and then maybe some more cute things. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So Lisa's going to give us a winner this evening. And then I'll be seeing you guys back here on Thursday. So I'm just going to wait here. Let's see. Lisa says, Erica Loscalzo is our winner. That's awesome for Erica. She's one of our regulars. So Erica, if you'll email me, Kelley, Kelley, at honeybeestamps.com, I will get you your $25 gift card. Congratulations, Erica. And then let's see. I want to make sure that there's not anything else. I don't think that there is. Oh, looking forward to it. So glad. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the little card this evening, going from plain white die cuts into something really, really pretty. So join me on Thursday night and I'll see you guys then. Bye guys. Thanks for joining me.